What if the iconic, dumb blonde was Hollywood's greatest lie? In the golden age of Hollywood, the studios were in the business of manufacturing gods and goddesses, and their most profitable invention was the beautiful, clueless woman. Today, we unmask 5 legends, from Marilyn Monroe, the secret intellectual, and Jayne Mansfield, the bombshell who dabbled with the Church of Satan, to Judy Holliday, the genius with a 172 IQ who played a fool to save her career. These are the true, unfiltered stories of the smartest women labeled dumb to ever conquer the silver screen. Number 1. Marilyn Monroe. Our first star is the undisputed queen of the persona, Marilyn Monroe. She was the ultimate fantasy, a global phenomenon built on a hypnotic walk, a breathy voice, and an aura of wide-eyed, childlike innocence. The world saw her as a fragile, beautiful simpleton who needed to be protected from the very world that worshipped her. She became the blueprint for every bombshell who followed, the perfect blend of sex appeal and vulnerability. The tragic truth was that Marilyn was a survivor of a nightmarish childhood, a veteran of foster homes and profound neglect who was relentlessly exploited by the studio system. Her famous, dumb quotes were often lines fed to her by publicists to maintain the billion-dollar image, an exhausting performance that fueled her crippling anxiety and dependency on prescription drugs. She was a product, packaged and sold by men who saw her as a commodity, not a human being. But here is the secret the studios desperately tried to bury. Marilyn Monroe was a brilliant and voracious reader. Her personal library contained over 400 books, from complex poetry to the works of Sigmund Freud. More than that, she was a savvy businesswoman who, in a move that terrified 20th Century Fox, formed her own production company to fight for creative control and better pay, an unprecedented act of defiance for a female star of her magnitude. Marilyn's dumbness was never her nature. It was her cage, a role she was forced to play both on and off the screen every single day. The devastating conflict between the sharp, ambitious woman she was and the simple-minded goddess she had to pretend to be became a battle that ultimately consumed her. Her greatest performance wasn't in a film, it was the one that cost her everything. Number 2. Jayne Mansfield. If Marilyn was the original, our next star, Jayne Mansfield, was the outrageous, supersized caricature. She took the dumb blonde act and cranked it up to a shocking, almost cartoonish extreme, with her all-pink mansion, her tiny chihuahuas, and her infamous, strategically planned wardrobe malfunctions. She wasn't just playing a role. Her entire existence was a shameless, non-stop publicity stunt designed to steal the spotlight. Jayne's life was meticulously engineered for tabloid headlines, and she possessed an almost pathological need for fame. The famous photo of Sophia Loren giving her the side-eye wasn't an accident. It was a calculated stunt by Jayne to upstage the Italian star. Her affairs were conducted in public for maximum outrage, and her shameless self-promotion became so extreme that even gossip-hungry Hollywood began to find her tacky and desperate. Her insatiable quest for fame eventually led her down a much darker path, into the orbit of Anton LaVey, the notorious founder of the Church of Satan. After her lover got into a public altercation with LaVey, the high priest allegedly placed a curse on him, warning he would die in a car crash. The horrifying part? Less than a year later, that exact curse seemingly came true, killing not only him but Jayne herself in one of Hollywood's most gruesome and infamous accidents. Jayne Mansfield wasn't stupid. She was a college-educated woman who reportedly spoke 5 languages and played the violin. Her fatal flaw wasn't a lack of intelligence, but a catastrophic lack of self-worth that fueled her dangerous obsession with fame. Before we move on to a woman who truly perfected the art of playing dumb, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future deep dives into Hollywood's hidden history. Number 3. Judy Holliday. Our third actress literally won an Academy Award for perfecting the ditzy broad role. Playing the unforgettably dim-witted Billy Dawn in Born Yesterday, Judy Holliday was so convincingly clueless that the public and the industry fused the actress with the role. Everyone believed that the woman on screen, funny, sweet, and with not a thought in her pretty head, was the real Judy. This may be the single most shocking fact in this entire video. Judy Holliday was a certified genius. Rumors in her lore mention her IQ was a staggering 172, a score which would put her higher than the likes of Albert Einstein. She was a brilliant intellectual who spent her downtime reading classical literature, writing her own witty screenplays, and solving complex mathematical puzzles. Her on-screen persona was a complete and total fabrication. In the 1950s, Judy was accused of being a communist and was hauled before the feared House Senate Internal Security Subcommittee, a hearing that had destroyed countless careers. In an act of sheer brilliance, she decided to deploy her Billy Dawn character against the United States Congress. She answered their aggressive questions with a flighty, confused, and utterly disarming cluelessness, frustrating the committee until they dismissed her as a harmless political idiot. Judy Holliday single-handedly saved her career by weaponizing the very stereotype that could have confined her. It was a stunning display of intellectual jujitsu, proving that in a world run by powerful, intimidating men, the smartest thing a woman could do was let them think she was dumb. What do you think was Judy's finest on-screen moment? Let us know your favorite film of hers in the comments. Number 4. Carole Lombard. Next, we have the undisputed queen of 1930s screwball comedy, Carole Lombard. She lit up the screen with a chaotic, madcap energy, often playing zany heiresses or flighty socialites who seemed one cocktail away from total disaster. Her charming, clueless bubble was her trademark, and her on-screen chemistry with her real-life husband, the King of Hollywood, Clark Gable, made them the industry's premier power couple. But the moment the director yelled, "Cut!" the elegant and dizzy Lombard vanished. In her place was a woman famous for being one of the most hilariously profane people in the entire industry. She could out-curse any sailor on the MGM lot and was known for her bawdy, practical jokes. She was tough, sharp-tongued, and the absolute opposite of the ditzy characters she played. Far from being a clueless actress, Carole was an incredibly shrewd and pioneering businesswoman. Decades before it was common, she astutely negotiated for a percentage of her film's profits, a move that made her one of the highest-paid women in America. She controlled her career with a financial acumen and iron will that stunned the all-male studio executives who had completely underestimated her. Her remarkable life took a tragic turn during World War II. A fierce patriot, Carole was on the nation's first celebrity war bond tour, raising millions for the effort. On her way home, her plane went down, killing everyone aboard. The dizzy dame of the movies died a national hero, leaving her husband, Clark Gable, utterly heartbroken. Her scatterbrained persona was just a cover for a brilliant, brave, and fiercely loyal woman. Number 5. Mamie Van Doren. Our final star is Mamie Van Doren, the last surviving member of the bombshell trinity known as the 3 M's. While Marilyn was the innocent and Jayne was the caricature, Mamie was marketed as the rebellious rock and roll alternative. She was the bad girl who sported leather jackets, sang rock in her movies, and radiated a defiant energy that suggested she wasn't just dumb, but dangerously unpredictable. Mamie actively cultivated a reputation for chaos and scandal, which she knew kept her in the headlines. She had a string of very public affairs with Hollywood's leading men, from Burt Reynolds to Warren Beatty. More importantly, she openly defied the studio bosses who wanted to mold her into another Marilyn clone, breaking contracts and refusing to play their game of manufactured purity. The studios saw her as unmanageable and self-destructive. But her rebellion wasn't clueless. It was a calculated strategy for survival. Having watched the tragic paths of her rivals Monroe and Mansfield, Mamie correctly identified the studio system as a death trap for women. Instead of fighting for the top spot, she invested her movie earnings wisely in real estate, took control of her own narrative, and simply walked away from the game when it no longer suited her. Today, Mamie Van Doren has outlasted all her rivals and critics. Her hard-headed refusal to become a victim of the Hollywood machine allowed her to live a long life on her own terms. She proved that the dumbest move was to chase fame at any cost, while the smartest was to secure your own independence. Did you have a favorite among the 3 M's? Tell us who it was in the comments below. 5 legendary women, sold to the world as beautiful but empty-headed dolls. In reality, their dumbness was a complex, multifaceted tool, a performance for Marilyn, a desperate cry for attention for Jayne, a brilliant shield for Judy, and a profitable facade for Carole. For Mamie, rejecting the game entirely was the ultimate power move. They navigated a brutal industry that saw their intelligence not as an asset, but as a dangerous threat to be managed and concealed. The glamorous fairy tale of the Golden Age was built on these powerful illusions, but the true stories are always far more compelling. These women weren't just faces on a screen. They were strategists in a high-stakes war for their own careers and souls. If you found these hidden histories as fascinating as we do, please hit the like button and subscribe for more untold stories from Hollywood's dark and glittering past. or click one of the videos on screen to continue watching.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Hollywood Fame. See you next time.